Hey Cowboys Nation, welcome back to the channel, your one-stop shop for all things Dallas Cowboys. If you're new here, don't forget to smash that like button and hit that subscribe button to stay updated on the latest news, insights, and exclusive content about America's team. As always, the Dallas Cowboys are pushing to improve and stay strong, no matter how tough the season has been. And folks, we've got some big updates today on a player who's been a bright spot this season. Linebacker DeMarvion Overshown. Plus, we'll dive into Jerry Jones' latest comments on Mike McCarthy's job security. Let's break it all down and see what it means for the future of the Cowboys. Let's go! All right, Cowboys fans, let's start with some news about one of our young stars who was giving us a lot of hope this season, DeMarvion Overshown. Now, if you've been following the team, you know Overshown has been dealing with some brutal injury luck. After missing his entire rookie season due to a torn ACL in his left knee, Overshown came back in 2024 ready to prove himself. And boy, did he deliver. He was having an incredible breakout year, starting 12 out of 13 games and racking up 90 tackles, 8 tackles for loss, 5 sacks, a fumble recovery, and even an interception. He was flying all over the field and showing why the Cowboys were so high on him coming out of Texas. But then, disaster struck again in Week 14 against the Cincinnati Bengals. Overshown went down with a serious knee injury, tearing not one, not two, but 3 ligaments, the ACL, MCL, and PCL in his right knee. When coach Mike McCarthy first addressed the injury, he said it was likely Overshown would miss all of the 2025 season. That was a gut punch, right? I mean, we're talking about a player who's been one of the few positives in a challenging season. But wait, here's the silver lining, y'all. According to a report by Fox Sports, Overshown's surgery was successful, and the Cowboys are now optimistic that he might return in the second half of the 2025 season. That's right. Instead of missing the entire year, there's a chance we could see DeMarvion back on the field by mid to late 2025. This news couldn't come at a better time. Overshown's presence has been crucial to the defense, and with the kind of heart and energy he brings, having him back could make a huge difference. Plus, it's a testament to how hard he's worked and how dedicated he is to this team. We're pulling for you, DeMarvion. Now, while we're talking about the future, let's switch gears to the man at the helm, head coach Mike McCarthy. The 2024 season has been a rough ride, no doubt about it. With a current record of 6-8, the playoffs are looking like a long shot unless we get some serious miracles. But guess who's still backing Mike McCarthy? None other than Jerry Jones himself. In a recent interview, Jerry gave both McCarthy and defensive coordinator Mike Zimmer high grades for their work this season. That's right, even with all the struggles, injuries, and disappointing losses, Jones believes McCarthy has done a solid job. But here's the catch. McCarthy's contract is up at the end of the season, and despite Jerry's support, it's still unclear if McCarthy will return in 2025. Now let's be real, Cowboys Nation. McCarthy's tenure has been a mixed bag. In his first 3 seasons, he led the Cowboys to 3 consecutive 12-win seasons and 3 straight playoff appearances. But here's the painful part. We still haven't made it past the NFC divisional round. The last time we played in an NFC championship game was 1995. Yeah, it's been that long. So, what does Jerry Jones's support mean? Is McCarthy safe, or are we looking at a potential coaching change? Well, a lot depends on these last few games. With matchups against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, Philadelphia Eagles, and Washington Commanders, the Cowboys have one of the toughest remaining schedules in the league, ranked 4th hardest by Tankathon. If McCarthy can somehow rally the team and end the season strong, he might just convince Jerry to give him another year. But if things go south, well, let's just say the hot seat is getting hotter. So, you might have heard that Jerry Jones, our ever-outspoken Cowboys owner, recently made headlines for a pretty bizarre reason, talking about eating squirrels and raccoons. Yeah, you heard that right. But while those strange comments grabbed attention, something much more important seemed to slip under the radar. During the same conversation, Jerry took a moment to talk about the Cowboys' upcoming offseason plans, or lack thereof, and guess what? He's already hinting at limitations and pointing fingers. And who's the target this time? None other than QB1 himself, Dak Prescott. Let's break this down. Jerry Jones and his son, Stephen Jones, are already setting the stage for what could be a frustrating offseason for Cowboys fans. They're suggesting that the team won't have the cap space to make any significant moves to improve the roster. And instead of looking inward, Jerry's chosen to pin the blame on Prescott's contract. But you got a limit as to the availability of the cap in the future when you flip those switches. You make your choices. It's a different cap management when you got the higher-priced player at quarterback. That's a direct quote from Jerry, shared by John Machota of The Athletic. Now, let's dissect this. On the surface, it sounds like Jerry's saying that Prescott's salary is restricting the Cowboys' ability to make moves. But is that really the whole truth? Cowboys Nation, let's think about this for a second. Other teams in the NFL are managing just fine despite having high-priced quarterbacks. The Baltimore Ravens are paying Lamar Jackson. The Kansas City Chiefs are paying Patrick Mahomes. The Philadelphia Eagles are paying Jalen Hurts. And guess what? All these teams are still finding ways to sign key players and remain competitive. Why? Because those front offices are prioritizing building winners. They're willing to get creative with contracts, restructure deals, and move money around to make it work. They don't use the cap as an excuse, they treat it as a challenge. Meanwhile, Jerry Jones seems more interested in keeping the Cowboys as the most talked-about team rather than the most successful team. Let's be honest, folks. This isn't just about Dak Prescott's contract. The Cowboys' cap issues are the result of years of questionable decisions. Overpaying aging players, missing on big-money free agents, and clinging to certain contracts for too long have all contributed to the situation we're in now. Remember the $90 million deal for Ezekiel Elliott? That contract hurt us for years. Or what about the big money we gave to guys like Jalen Smith and DeMarcus Lawrence? Some of those deals haven't aged well, and yet here we are, with Jerry pointing the finger at Prescott instead of admitting that the front office has made mistakes. Don't get me wrong, Dak's contract isn't cheap, but he's a starting caliber quarterback in the NFL, and top quarterbacks get paid top dollar. That's just the reality of the league today. The real problem is that the Cowboys haven't done enough to build around him. They've relied on Dak to carry the team, but they haven't given him all the pieces he needs to succeed. So what does all this mean for the 2025 offseason? If Jerry and Stephen Jones are already making excuses about cap space, it's a warning sign that we might not see the aggressive moves that fans are hoping for. We know there are areas that need improvement. The offensive line needs reinforcements. We need depth at wide receiver. The defense has holes that need to be patched up. And let's not forget the running back position, which has been a revolving door this season. But if Jerry's already waving the white flag saying there's no money to work with, it's going to be a long offseason for Cowboys fans, and it's going to be even longer if Jerry keeps using Dak's contract as a scapegoat instead of taking responsibility. Injuries have played a huge role this season. Losing Dak Prescott to a torn hamstring in November was a massive blow. Cooper Rush has stepped in and done his best, but the Cowboys dug themselves into a hole early in the season, and climbing out of it has been tough. Now, with games against playoff-caliber teams, the Cowboys have a chance to show us what they're made of. These last few weeks are about pride, resilience, and maybe playing spoiler for teams like the Eagles and Commanders. And hey, there's always something satisfying about ruining another team's playoff hopes, right? All right, Cowboys Nation, now it's your turn. What do you think about DeMarvion Overshown's potential return in 2025? Can he bounce back and continue his rise as one of the defense's young stars? And what about Mike McCarthy? Do you think Jerry Jones should stick with him for another season, or is it time for a change at the top? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. I want to hear from you. Are you optimistic about Overshown's recovery? Do you still believe in McCarthy, or is your patience running out? If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. We're here for all the highs and lows of Cowboys football, and we're not going anywhere. Let's ride this out together. Thanks for watching, and as always, go Cowboys!